4th District for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 14th District, you kind of shorted me there.
I apologize.
It's all good. Thank you.
14.
In April, the World Radio Communications Conference, WRC Advisory Committee, submitted its recommendations to the FCC, which it put out for public comment. But it's kind of unclear what has happened since. As the FCC prepares to work with the Department of State in preparation for the WRC, transparency is going to be the key to our private sector partners. So Chairwoman Rosenforce, in 30 seconds or less, does the FCC adopt a view for each item, and is that something the chair decides, or does the commission vote on it?
On our World Radio Conference recommendations, it has generally been the practice that we work with industry to develop them through the World Radio Conference Advisory Committee, and then we work with other countries in our region to develop consensus proposals.
Do you vote on whether to submit those as the commission? Or is that something you just decide?
I have to go back and check, but I don't believe that has been the practice of the agency. But I make clear to my colleagues where we're going before we head to the World Radio Conference.
Do they make clear to you whether they agree?
Well, I think we have a good relationship, and I expect them to provide me feedback whenever they feel like it.
I'm just checking. Commissioner Carr, I'm going to go to you. The United States is currently in the process of defining our wireless future by working to advance our spectrum policy interests at the WRC. Unfortunately, at the same time, we are advocating for certain spectrum bands to be made available. The FCC lacks the authority to conduct auctions, as we all are painfully aware. Or what was it, the woman from California said, aggravated and worried. So, Commissioner Carr, do you think this undermines our credibility?
I think having auction authority going into WRC is of vital importance. Again, we are having lots of little mini debates in that context. The CCP-allied entities want certain spectrum bands to be used for certain purposes. Our allied nations want to go a different way. When we have auction authority can sit at that table, it's a wind at the back of our negotiators. So it is in the U.S.'s geopolitical interests to have spectrum authority and to be spectrum auction authority and be moving forward, moving spectrum bands out.
You're going to help us push that through the Senate?
Happy to do it.
Okay, I thought so. Let me do a follow-up. You mentioned earlier that we need to reinstate auction authority and pass H.R. 3565 to ensure that China doesn't write our wireless future. It's almost as if they're not our friends. How involved is the FCC in security assessments of foreign actors' motivations when engaging in global institutions such as the ITU for the U.S. and its allies to vacate or make certain bands available that countries like China will not permit at home? Did you catch all that? How involved is the FCC in security assessments of foreign actors' involvement when you're engaging with those global institutions, such as the ITU? Chairwoman, maybe we'll come to you. I see you writing. Go ahead.
Well, as a result of Congress passing laws like the Secure and Trusted Communications Networks Act and the Secure Equipment Act, we are now working with our national security authorities on these matters like never before. We have established relationships with them. We keep them abreast of how we're developing our recommendations and progress with the World Radio Conference.
So you're confident those will be in place and America will get the best deal possible, the safest and the best?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Commissioner Carr, I'll come back to you. When the commission makes a spectrum decision, literally billions of dollars are spent by private industry. I think we've touched on this, to make the equipment and deploy the networks that bring the value of that decision to Americans in their homes and also on the move. But lately, some have been calling for the FCC to reverse its allocation decisions. So I'm concerned about the impact on investment if the FCC were to do an about face after they've already made up their mind. I'm concerned about the investment, what that will do to investors. Are you share that concern?
You know, we certainly need to, provide certainty. And once we authorize and allocate spectrum, we have billions of dollars of investment. We should not be coming in behind after the fact and pulling the rug out from under. It's bad in that instance, and it's bad to attract the investment that we need to U.S. shores to continue to bridge the digital divide.
Is there a time frame in there? In other words, if you did it immediately, maybe not too bad of a deal. If you did it a year or two later, is the longer the time is the worse a retraction, so to speak, or reversal would be?
Right, exactly. There's longer reasonable investment-backed expectations, the longer the FCC would wait before taking such an action.
All right, well, time's up. I'm going to yield back, Mr. Chair.